Your life is so interesting, and I think it's representative of Puerto Ricans in the diaspora, right? What you went through is in Brooklyn is, I have parallels to my own life in Chicago.
Gotta shout out Marlboro Projects, Brooklyn.
I saw your dad was from Brownsville. That's crazy.
Brownsville, shout outs to Brownsville, my family that's still there.
Brownsville's the truth, right?
Brownsville has yet to be gentrified.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, people.
But to bring it back to Don Pedro and remembering Don Pedro, I mean, you read about, you learn about this guy who is radical and not only radical, right, but eloquent and a genius, right? Spoke multiple languages. He was the first Puerto Rican to go to Harvard, right? And then first one to go to Harvard Law School.
This is a dream of mine, man. To write about Don Pedro, really to write a book in English. This has been a dream of mine ever since, I can honestly say, my La Respuesta days. Because my La Respuesta days overlap with a time, like an 8-month period when I worked at the Center for Puerto Rican Studies.
Nice.
Right. I worked there as an administrative assistant at the Uptown Library and Archives, right? Which is very important. Why? Because downtown on 68th Street is like their headquarters, but uptown on 119th Street and 3rd Avenue still today is the Library and Archives, where they have their amazing, historically important collection of, books, firsthand documents, things that have been donated, the Ruth Reynolds collection, all these things.
People who aren't Puerto Rican will have no idea what the Centro means to Puerto Rican culture, right? Everything.
Yeah.
A lot of what we know about Puerto Rico is cited, it's Center from Puerto Rican Studies, right? They have, it's just it's like the Library of Alexandria for Puerto Rican culture, right?
Really though, really. I mean, they got stuff that's in the Puerto Rican archives on microfilm where you don't even need to go to Puerto Rico to look at the stuff. You could just go to
people in Puerto Rico have to go to New York to study Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah, and and that's true. That's true. It's understated institution. I had already started to get into my history by the time I took that job. One of the reasons why I wanted to work there was because I was into the history and I thought that would look good in my interview. But so I started working there. I would look into the library and archives and, sign out certain documents, sign out certain books. And I had already done some reading on Pedro Pisu Campos. There's that one book in English on his entire life by Federico Ribes Tovar, which if you look at the copyright in the beginning, it's clear that it's an English translation from the original Spanish, right? So I had done my research, but then being at Centro, I did so much more, and I was able to have access to so much more information about him. And from there, I always had it in me to share the things that I was learning with other people.
Yeah.
So I think a couple of months in, that's when word got around that this online magazine was starting called La Respuesta. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, cool. I checked it out. I thought it was really dope. And, I reached out to them, and I'm not sure if I got a piece on that first issue, online issue, but, definitely like every issue after, I think I had something on there, within a couple of months. I had talked to Savi and, the other folks in the editorial core, sort of, as they say. And, very quickly, I was working at Centro, they liked that, Boricua from the hood, from the projects, working in Puerto Rican institution, English dominant, so we're going to be about that whole, you don't have to be a fluent Spanish speaker to be Puerto Rican.
Especially with a diasporic fucking publication, you're not going to do, we're Americanized, man. Colonialism works. It works.
Right. So going through all that, meeting the folks, very quickly, I got onto the editorial core as the New York City regional editor. And, that was like in 2013, and then 2015, I don't know how many years after the 1965 passing of Don Pedro, I was like, yo, I'm like writing stuff on my own. I would love to do like a 3 or 4 part series where once a month up to April 21st, when, he passed away, he transitioned. I would love to put out an article. So, I did that, certain pieces on him. Being in La Respuesta, it gave me that understanding of what it means to be a Diasporican. And it gave me that sort of mission within myself to really represent, you know, our identity, you know, and our history. And part of that is like, okay, well, you know, how can we fill in some gaps so that we can continue developing, you know, as people in the Boricua diaspora, right? And one of the things is, well, you know, Don Pedro, man, we need to have more stuff on him that's in English, you know, and we have that biography, you know, in my opinion, you know, it's great, it's important, you know, it's missing out some stuff.
There's a lot of people missing that need biographies in English and books in English, like, you know, Betances and Hostos and all of them, right?
Yeah.
You have to read them in Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like it's another way of colonialism trying to disconnect. You know, there's more Puerto Ricans living outside of Puerto Rico than inside Puerto Rico. And we consider ourselves, if, you know, diaspora, for anybody who doesn't know what that means, it means that we consider ourselves part of the Puerto Rican nation, right? Puerto Rico geographically is 3 islands.
I really like the saying, you know, de sangre y corazón, because it has nothing to do with where you're born geographically, but like it's in your blood, it's in your heart.
And again, like if it wasn't for colonialism, we would probably all be there. Nobody wants to leave their homeland. People are forced to leave their homeland for economic reasons, for political reasons, for social reasons. Nobody, and Puerto Rico's a paradise. Who leaves paradise to go to, you know, no offense, you know, the cold winters of Chicago or New York?
Oh my God. Yeah, maybe you must need work.
Yeah, you must need work, right? Or you're being shot, or you're being hunted by the police in fucking back in the colony.
Yeah, so many nationalists, you know, had to leave the island, you know, because of that, you know, or there's no work there. You know, it's not about needing better work, but the fact that there's no work.